you, sir.
Yeah, there's traffic on the line during that one.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
ACS Trucks 176, break LC ACS.
This is LC.
Yes, sir. Please adjust launcher settings to azimuth 95.0, elevation 70.5, and advisement complete.
And work.
And good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight for the launch of the DXL payload, which is the Diffuse X-rays from the local Galaxy payload, flying on a NASA Black Brant IX suborbital sounding rocket from Wallops. This is the first sounding rocket launch of 2022, and also the first rocket launch from Wallops in this current year. So far, everything has been progressing smoothly during the counts. Right now, we're doing some testing of the attitude control system.
This is LC. Launcher settings are azimuth 95.0, elevation 70.5.
Copy, thank you.
And the attitude control system, or as we call it, the ACS, allows us to point the payload when it's during the flight, once it gets up near apogee. Right now, weather conditions are really good here for Wallops.
177, break LCACS.
This is LC.
Yes, sir. Please adjust launcher settings to azimuth 95.0, elevation 80.5.
And work.
We do have clear skies here at Wallops tonight, and low winds on the ground level, so we're looking good there. Out in the recovery area for the payload, we're also looking at acceptable seas, so tonight's a good night to launch, so hopefully we're measuring the X-rays, the soft X-rays that are impacting Earth's atmosphere, and part of that is related to the solar winds. So provided that the solar winds cooperate tonight, we'll be able to get this launch off. Launch window tonight does run until 3 a.m. so we have plenty of time, but we are hoping to be able to get this off at the front part of the window tonight. So the rocket we're flying on is a Black Brant IX rocket. The length of the entire vehicle with the payload is about 57 feet tall. Payload weight tonight is just a little over 1,100 pounds. Again, this is a sounding rocket, so it's going to be very fast for those who are out trying to watch this. We have what we call, well, you'll see on the screen there that the actual rocket is boxed in a styrofoam type material, and this is keeping the instruments on the payload and also the rocket motors nice and warm while it's sitting on the pad. It is a little cold here at Wallops in the low 30s, so we want to keep everything comfortable and ready to go when we do launch. So when it does launch, it just rips through the styrofoam in order for the rocket to fly.
ACS, this is LC. Launcher settings are azimuth 95.0, elevation 80.5.
Copy, thank you. ACS Trucks 178, break LCACS.
This is LC.
Yes, sir. Please adjust launcher settings to azimuth 105.0, elevation 80.5.
And work.
$15 minutes and holding.
rocket we are flying on tonight is the Black Brant IX. Basically, it's a two-stage vehicle. First stage is made up of a Terrier motor. It's a solid rocket motor. Very fast motor, burns only for about 5 seconds. At that altitude, when it burns out, it'd be 1 mile.
LC. Launcher settings are azimuth 105.0, elevation 80.5.
Copy, sir. Thank you.
And once it burns out at 1 mile altitude, it'll be running at about 1,261 miles an hour. Second stage Black Brant, then we have a little bit of a coast phase, and the second stage Brant, which is also a solid motor, ignites at 16 seconds after launch. It burns out at 43.5 seconds after launch.
ACS checks step 179.
At ignition,
ready for valve firing test.
At ignition, we're 4 miles altitude, so we're about a 3 mile coast. And then once it burns out, we're at 23 miles altitude. At that point, once we burn out for the Brant motor, we're running around 4,600 miles an hour. Tonight's flight was about 265 seconds. We'll reach apogee after launch. At this point, it's 161 miles altitude. Downrange, about 58 miles from Wallops out over the Atlantic. The payload, we do plan to recover this, so we'll come down by parachute and land about 100 miles off the coast of Wallops. To support our recovery efforts tonight, we do have the support of Tiki 14 out of Lewis, Delaware. It's a 80-foot steel trawler that will be supporting us tonight for recovery. And then the payload will return. They'll return that payload to Ocean City, Maryland, and hopefully tomorrow night it should reach the docks around 8 o'clock or so if everything works, based on the timing.
ACS check 180, check 181.
PLC check 182.
And we're just about ready to wrap up the testing of the payload systems with the rocket in the vertical position. And then once that is completed, we should shortly be getting a science report from our principal investigator, who is Dr. Galeazzi from the University of Miami.
ACS check 184.
This is MM polling to verify all system checks are complete before powering off. PI. PI is go. PTM. Go. PLC. Go. ACS.
ACS is go.
VS.
VS, go.
check 185.
All radars have LOS on the transponder.
ACS check 187.
PLC, check 186.
M&O, you can stop recorders.
verify, payload check complete.
This is verifying payload checks are complete. Check 189 with a caveat. We are still up over TM on fiber to keep tabs on the vacuum.
Copy all.
PM M&O, step 188, recorder stopped.
And SRPO and MM, we're going to have a science brief before we pick up the 15.
All right, sounds good. This is sounds good. Would it make more sense to pick it up at the 40 or 30 mark because of the belly band?
So you suggestion recycling to T-minus 40 minutes?
Yeah, for now, because we do need a science update, and we do need to wait to release the belly band once we know everything is squared away and everything is ready.
Copy.
SRPO, do you agree or?
SRPO agrees.
Okay.
PITD, are you prepared to give us a science update? LPM TD.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, while we're waiting, this is a good time to go ahead and align pad cameras.
Yeah, you can check that step. Pad 2 cameras have been aligned.
Copy.
And the pad is clear.
TD, this is PI will be ready for science brief in 2 to 3 minutes.
Copy.
TD, this is RSO.
Go for TD.
Are we going to scrub test rockets this evening?
I'll wait to hear what the PI says. If science is way off, then we'll go ahead and get some practice with test rockets.
Sounds good. ROA, this is RSO.
Go for ROA.
You can check 192.
Check 191.
Copy, check 191, 192.
So we have completed the payload checks with the rocket in the vertical position. Now we are waiting on the science update from Dr. Galeazzi from the University of Miami. And once we get that and see how the science conditions are looking with the solar winds, then we'll be able to determine, get a little bit better idea of what it looks like for launch tonight when that might happen. So just stay tuned here for a couple minutes and we'll get you that live.
This is PI. We'll be ready for a space weather update in 2 to 5 minutes.
TD copies.
TD LPM.
Go for TD.
Yes, sir. Is there any harm in us going ahead and coming down to 60 degrees to get ready?
I don't see any on my end. All right, so you go with it?
RSO concurs.
LPM, proceed as requested.
Copy that. We are en route to 60-degree elevation.
Okay, shortly here they'll be lowering the rocket to about 60 degrees elevation. At that point, that once we get the go-ahead for launch, they will cut what they call the belly band, which is basically a strap that is supporting the rocket to the launcher. And then once that is done, then they will raise the rocket back up to the launch position and allow us to launch.
TD, this is MM.
Go for TD.
Is there an update right now on surveillance? Is the range green?
Stand by, we can get one. SCTD.
Go ahead, TD.
Yeah. Status of the range, are we green?
Yes, sir. I believe we're green. I don't have the exact numbers, but we're only tracking one boat inside the hazard area, and it's on its way out.
Copy. RSO, you concur?
RSO concurs, working no issues.
This is PI. Space weather looks good. We are willing to go for midnight local time.
Copy all. Programmer TD.
Programmer.
Status up for T005.
Roger. 0500.
So this means we are not going to do test rockets for the night.
RC copies.
PI checks 197 and 198.
Check 199. Launcher's at 60-degree elevation.
And LC, you're clear to release the belly band. We're ready.
And there you just saw the belly band being released. It's falling away
Check
from the
200.
rocket.
Belly band has been released.
And so now the rocket will be raised back up into the launch position. And it sounds like we're targeting a midnight launch.
Check 202. We just got 203.
MNO, perform end-to-end playback.
You can check 201.
PM to 70, that's complete.
Copy. Check 204.
And the DXL mission tonight is hoping to shed some light on the sources of soft X-rays that are moving towards the Earth from elsewhere in our galaxy. While these X-rays are not harmful to humans on Earth, they may have an effect and can disturb radio communications and the accuracy of GPS navigation systems. And so basically, we're trying to look at and trying to understand a little bit better the sources of these X-rays.
ROA, this is RSO on channel 1.
Go for ROA.
I've got wind-weighted settings for you if you're ready.
Stand by. Go ahead.
Wind-weighted settings are azimuth 84.4, elevation 81.9.
I copy. Azimuth 84.4, elevation 81.9.
Good readback.
Check 206.
MM, you good with us going to wind-weighted settings, or you want to wait?
This is MM. Nope, go ahead to wind-weighted settings.
LC, this is ROA. Set launcher to wind-weighted settings off. Azimuth 84.4, elevation 81.9. Confirm.
And work.
And you hear now that they are setting the launcher for the wind-weighted settings. Wind weighting is a process that we use for determining how we want to point the rocket at launch. These are unguided rockets, so it's kind of like shooting an arrow. So we have to, we know what the target is in space, and so in order to get there, we have to adjust for the winds.
ACS check 205.
That the rocket will encounter during its flight. And so in order to do that, about 5 hours before launch, we've been sending up balloons, and that provides us a profile of the winds up into space. Up to about 100,000 feet, actually. And for those of you who are watching the broadcast and want to get out and try to catch the launch, you may be able to see it if you have clear skies. It should be good visibility up in the Mid-Atlantic area, all the way up to northern New Jersey, and in parts of Pennsylvania, and even in Virginia out to the Blue Ridge Mountains, or Skyline Drive, and even North Carolina, especially along the coast there. And shortly, the range will be conducting the poll to proceed to the terminal count for this mission.
ROA, this is LC. Settings are azimuth 84.4, elevation 81.9.
That is a good copy. Check step 207. This is 36.363. Terrier, Black Brant, launching from Pad 2, 50K launcher. Please stand by for station checks to proceed with the terminal count. All stations should announce status as green or red on channel 1. RC.
RC green.
M&O.
M&O is green.
LWO.
LWO green.
Programmer.
Programmer green.
LC.
LC's green.
LPM.
LPM green.
PLC.
PLC green.
PTM.
PTM green.
ACS.
ACS is green.
VS.
VS green.
SCO.
SCO is green.
PI.
PI is green.
MM.
MM is green.
SRPO.
SRPO green.
PM.
PM is green.
RSO.
RSO is green.
TD.
TD is green. All stations are responsible for reviewing the go, no-go criteria listed in the OD. Only stations annotated with an asterisk in previous step are permitted to call a hold. All the sites report red. Check item 209.
Check 209.
And there you heard it. That sounds like everybody is good for tonight's launch. Again, we're targeting midnight for tonight's launch. Also, just a reminder for those who are looking to go outside and try to catch the launch that if you're watching the stream, which you obviously are if you're hearing this, that there is a short delay from what you're hearing in actual events at Wallops, so take that into account when you want to go outside and catch the launch.
PLC check 210.
And during the count, you'll hear them yell out numbers to check off. These are steps that would end the countdown for tonight launch. So there are approximately 230 or so, 240 steps that we are going through for tonight's launch.
T-minus 10 minutes.
M&O, start recorders.
Recorder started.
Copy, check 212.
ACS check 214.
PLC check 213.
M&O, set ground station levels and confirm.
VS, check 215.
PM M&O 216, 217. Ground levels confirmed. Confirmed nominal.
Copy. RC, can you interrogate the transponder and verify good 5 code?
It worked.
PLC check 220 and 222.
ATM check 218, 221, and 223.
And PMRC.
Go ahead.
Good lock on transponder, good 5 code.
Copy, check 219.
ACS check 224.
RSO, please provide wind-weighted settings.
In work. ROAs, RSO.
Go for ROA.
Final wind-weighted settings are as follows. Azimuth 87.4, 81.2.
Copy. Final wind-weighted settings are azimuth 87.4, elevation 81.2.
Good readback.
Check 225. LC, this is ROA.
This is LC.
Set launcher to wind-weighted settings and confirm. Azimuth 87.4, elevation 81.2.
And work.
PI, this is ACS. Please provide azimuth input target.
PI check 227. SES, the azimuth target is 0.7. Check 228.
PI, this is ACS, just to confirm. As is 0.7 for the input target. Check 229.
ROA, this is LC.
Thank you.
The settings are azimuth 87.4, elevation 81.2.
That is a good copy. Check 226.
And in just a couple minutes, the payload systems will be switching from external to internal power.
ACS check 235.
VS check 237.
ACS check 236.
PLC check 230, 231, 232, 233, and 234.
PTM check 240, 242, and 244.
MNO, can you verify no change to signal strength and deviation for all links on internal power and verify nominal levels?
PM MNO 238, no change and confirm nominal.
Copy.
PI check 247.
RC, can you verify good transponder signal on internal?
T-minus
PLC
2
check
minutes.
RC
241.
has a good transponder, no change.
PLC check 243.
ACS check 246.
Coming up is the final pull for launch.
This is MM polling for readiness for launch. PTM,
Go.
PLC,
Go.
ACS,
ACS go.
VS,
VS go.
PI.
PI go.
NASROC systems are go. MM check 248, 249.
60 seconds and counting.
Turn
30
your
seconds.
arm, check 250.
PLC check 251, 252, 253, and 255.
20 seconds.
PI check 254.
PTM check 256.
ACS check 257.
10,
10 seconds.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3,
2,
2.
1.
Radars 5 and 18 are tracking.
Ignition.
RSO, this is LPM. We're requesting permission to allow fire department to the pad.
This is RSO. You're clear to proceed.
Copy that.
D-spin and separation.
And the payload is now separated from the second stage motor.
DXL latch open.
Payload is stable on target 4.
DXL door open.
All radars are tracking the payload. No track on the booster.
RSO, this LPM. We clear to proceed out to the pad to unlock the gate for the fire department.
Clear to proceed.
Copy that. En route.
This is PI. Looks like we have good data.
Payload is stable on target 6. Payload is stable on target 1.
SO, Sarso on channel 10. SO, knock knock. We're cleared to release the uprange.
DXL door closed. DXL latch closed.
Payload didn't spin up. Payload didn't vent.
Okay, it sounds like we had a good flight tonight of the DXL mission. Launch occurred at midnight, and as you may have heard, the principal investigator, Dr. Galeazzi from Miami, reported that good data was being received from the payload. So about this time, the payload will be coming in by parachute, landing about 100 miles off the coast of Wallops in the Atlantic Ocean. We'll have a ship called the Tiki-14 out of Lewis, Delaware, actually is out there, and it will recover the payload, and it will return it back to Ocean City, Maryland, for us to go out and pick it up from there.
TD, LPM.
Go for TD.
Yes, sir. Are we clear to bring down the launcher? Do we need any measurements?
Standby 1. SRPO, MM, do we need any measurements?
Yeah, I think so. It came out of there really low. It seemed it'd be good to get an elevation check.
Copy. Copy, LPM.
LPM copy, didn't work.
So
payload is on the chute.
And the payload is now on parachute in its final descent from its flight. Again, it will hopefully get it recovered tonight, and then return it to Ocean City. Expected return into Ocean City tomorrow or later this evening, because this is Sunday. So hopefully we'll get it back at that time. So the next launch from Wallops is Northrop Grumman's Antares rocket. A launch date and time is expected later this week to be announced. And the next NASA Sounding Rocket launch is in late February, and we'll be heading north to Poker Flat, Alaska.
DSPI, both DXL onboard bottles are below 100 psi.
We'll be launching from the range up there with the University of Alaska Fairbanks. So thanks for joining us tonight. It sounds like we had a good flight, and stay tuned for our next launch. Thanks for joining us. Good night.